This is an exemplar answer to question 2B, Cambridge International AS Level Economics, Paper 2-2, February-March 2022, essay question on transition economies. The question is: discuss whether the transition from a planned economy to a market economy will always benefit consumers. 12 marks. The structure of the answer. This is a discuss question requiring two sides of an argument and a reasoned conclusion. Since it is an essay, there are three parts, namely introduction, body, and conclusion. The introduction contains definitions and features of planned and market economies. The body considers the two sides of the arguments, that is, why the transition from planned to market is beneficial to consumers, and why the transition from planned to market is not beneficial to consumers. There should be 2 points for each side. There is a reasoned conclusion which answers the question: is transition to a market economy always beneficial to consumers? Introduction. Define planned economy, define market economy, state a feature of a planned economy, and a feature of a market economy. The introduction is as follows. A market economy is an economic system in which resources are owned and controlled by private individuals and firms, while a planned economy involves government ownership and control of productive resources. One major feature of a market economy is that demand and supply determine prices, as opposed to price control or fixing by the government in a planned economy. Body, on one side. Why the transition from planned to market economy is beneficial to consumers. These are the advantages of a market economy to consumers over a planned economy. We will explain 2 points in 2 paragraphs. The explanation starts with stating the benefit. Then, analyze, step by step, how it benefits consumers. The explanation of the first point is as follows. Consumers have a choice in a market economy because there is competition among the producers. Variety of goods and competing brands are available in the market. A producer may lower its price in order to increase its revenue or market share at the expense of competitors. Consumers' purchasing power increases as goods become affordable. More goods mean higher standard of living because consumers can satisfy more of their wants. There is no such duplication in a planned economy, and consumers are not offered different brands of a product by the government, hence, the worldwide movement from a planned economy to a market economic system. The second benefit to consumers is innovation. This is the paragraph. Due to the profit motive, producers in a market economy usually innovate to respond to the changing wants of the consumers. This is because consumers are sovereign in this type of economic system, and the satisfaction of their wants must be emphasized. Firms, therefore, embark on research and development to provide new and better products. As a result, consumers enjoy quality products. The government, in a planned economy, has no incentive to innovate as it does not seek to make profit. Therefore, it is not responsive to consumers' wants. Body, on the other side. Why the transition from planned to market economy is not beneficial to consumers. These are the disadvantages of a market economy to consumers compared to a planned economy. We will explain 2 points in 2 paragraphs. The first is overproduction of demerit goods. The explanation is as follows. The market economy has some shortcomings in spite of its advantages. It tends to overproduce demerit goods. Demerit goods have negative effects on others in the society, e.g., alcohol and cigarette. And because consumers are not usually given adequate or correct information about these goods, they tend to overconsume them. Overconsumption of demerit goods worsens the health of consumers and people around them, reduces their productivity and income. Consumers lose income because of frequent absence from work to take care of themselves due to illnesses from overconsumption of demerit goods, such as lung cancer, etc. Poor living standards emanate from this as there is inadequate income to satisfy their wants. The second point is explained as follows. Some countries may be reluctant to make the transition because the market economy will not provide certain goods and services, e.g., roads, streetlights, flood control system, and defense. This is because they are not profitable. These goods are called public goods. Private firms cannot make profit from public goods because nobody can be prevented from using them once provided by charging a price. In other words, there are always free riders. Also, consumption by one person does not reduce the quantity available to others. Public goods are essential for the consumers. Non-provision of roads, for example, makes movement of consumer goods and people difficult. Lack of policing and defense leads to loss of lives and other valuables to theft or external aggression. These goods are always provided by the government in a planned economy. The last paragraph, the conclusion. Is transition to a market economy always beneficial to consumers? Take a side. You may or may not support it. Support your stance with another point. Do not repeat the points you have mentioned before and do not summarize. Remember to state any limitation of the side you have taken. You can use, it depends on. Consider the short run and long run impact, etc. The last paragraph is as follows. The market economy will always benefit the consumers. It promotes entrepreneurship, which leads to creation of jobs and more output for the economy. Economic prosperity is enjoyed by the consumers in form of higher income than it is possible in a planned economy. Due to less government interference, countries that have moved towards the market economic system have attracted investments from within and outside their economies. However, certain issues have to be addressed when transiting from a market economy to a planned economy, e.g., privatization, legal reforms, and liberalization of the economy. Legal reforms, for instance, will protect consumers' rights. In the short run, the transiting economy may experience rising unemployment due to privatization, because private firms will want to reduce inefficiency and wastage by cutting jobs, unlike the overbloated workforce seen in a planned economy. In the long run, more jobs will be created, the gross domestic product will rise, and living standards will improve as reforms attract more investments. The whole essay, putting all together. The introduction. The body. The body. The body. The body. The conclusion.